This presentation is going to cover building information modeling for house builders with a focus on the full version of Revit. My name is Samuel Macalister and I am a senior technical BIM specialist based in Australia. And if you need to reach out to me, my direct email is samuel.macalister@autodesk.com. So today's agenda is going to look at the basics of introducing you to parametric modeling. What is it all about? Moving from CAD to building information modeling. We'll be touching on reusing some of the CAD data and third-party plugins to accelerate your BIM usage. We'll also touch on how you can start to use the information to actually design for fabrication and work to a level of development 400 where you can export it out to factories. And then finally, we'll look at our sales and marketing tools for visualization and show you how you can connect to others by working on the Autodesk BIM 360 Cloud. So just a quick overview of what's happening in the house builder space. This is one of our larger house builder accounts called Dynamo House. They actually own some house building companies based in Australia. What they've been doing is working with our Octo team in Toronto to automate some of the house design building processes. So if you do want to know more about this, we have articles on our Redshift website. The image on the right actually automates how the terrace houses should be set up on site, how many car parking spaces they have. And with the Octo team and the scripts, they can actually automate all the different design options and then choose the ones that best fit the site. So this house builder here is one in the Netherlands called Van Wijngen. They're using a scripting engine as well from our Octo team to look at the best positioning and orientation on a chosen site. This next animation will give you an idea of how it works. This is where we have a number of metrics where we look at the actual site size, we look at the size of the backyard, the views that each house could have, how they're orientated for solar gains, so if you want to put photovoltaics on the roof. And of course, being a house builder or a developer, we need to look at what it's going to cost, what our profit margins are with how many units we have on that site. And if we want to be a bit more unique and not just have repetition, we can have variety. So this is a really powerful engine that will generate about 15,000 different design options using this script. Now, if you do want to get into using this, we have a beta platform called Project Refinery, and this will allow you to start using some of these scripts to do design optioning. One I have here is for an apartment layout. So this starts to look at some of the areas that we need to achieve for our apartment layout, and we load it into our Dynamo scripting engine. Dynamo comes with the AEC collections, and it connects to Refinery. So here we have our layout, and this will allow us to go and generate 20 or 40 different design options. It could randomize them. It can also optimize them. And we can start to configure this apartment layout, choose the ones that meet our brief or our program, and then present the top one. So here it's going to produce 40 different options. We want to look at some of the metrics like noise reduction or proximity. We can use the sliders at the top there to drag it around and then get the one that actually meets all those parameters. Then with that script in play, we can load it into Revit. We can run that script. Revit has a Dynamo player, and here we have our optimized apartment layout that meets all those parameters, all those metrics that we'll put into our program and our brief. So a really powerful stepping stone into planning out your building without having to do it manually. This will go and optimize it all for you, and then you can develop up the parametric model inside of Revit. Other things to be aware of, this is Jeld-Wen, the big window manufacturer. We have a platform called Autodesk Forge, which this window manufacturer is starting to use. You can go to the site and actually choose the window that you want to work with. So if it's going to be double hung or you want some sort of grill or paneling in the window, you can choose it and configure it. So this has an online visualization tool, and you can choose the interior paint finishes, the exterior paint finishes. You can optimize numerous features and then potentially reuse this information inside of your building information modeling environment. If you want to know more about that, please check out the Forge website listed at the top, the configurator. You could accelerate your specification of windows, doors, furniture with this tool inside of Revit. Now, I'm not going to be doing a deep dive on parametric modeling. There's a lot to get through in this demand gen presentation, but we're just going to show you some of the key features that parametric modeling in the BIM environment will enable you to do. So the great thing we have here is we're working in both 2D and 3D. You don't even need to be working in the 3D environment. You can still keep on working in 2D and it will be generating 3D components. We're automatically going to see the updates. When you switch between views, they're always going to update. You can work in the 3D view or the section view or the elevation view. It's going to update in every single view in the model, and it's containing information. So every object inside of this data set has information in it, and this can be scheduled out. It can be sent out to a factory for fabrication. It can be costed. If you can think of it, you can add that information to the Revit environment. Other things we can do here is we can start to look at design options. And in the house building sector, this is incredibly important. Even though the designs are sort of configured to match a certain style, we want to have options with the facade, with the kitchen layout, the bathrooms, the en-suites, etc. So what we've got here is a couple of snapshots of a facade, just taken straight out of Revit. One is with a brick finish, another one was with a render finish. These are embedded in the Revit model as a design option. So we can do it with facades. We can instantly see what it's going to look like in the software. We can change geometry and materials. Whatever you can think of, you can set up as design options inside of Revit. So this one here This is looking at a kitchen layout. And what I can do with this kitchen layout is I can set up different types of options. So I've fired up the design option panel, and I've got one for my facade, one for my kitchen. The kitchen I have at the moment is a galley kitchen, but maybe I want to give my customers an option. So what I can do is I can go from the main model, and the main model is kitchen 01 primary. That's the one that I'm just having as the default kitchen. But maybe I want to show an L-shaped kitchen for another client who prefers to work in that sort of manner. So I can flick between kitchen 1 and kitchen 2 and instantly see how that's going to look. So you can add as many different design options as you want here. There's numerous tools to create option sets, make certain options primary, delete, duplicate them. The sky's the limit. So I've seen some customers who have maybe 30 different facade options, which is fantastic, but they're all embedded within the Revit environment. You don't need to do another drawing and another drawing and another drawing and link them in like you do a CAD. They're embedded within Revit here inside of this design option feature. So let's say we want to also look at the facade. What I have here is a brick render facade, and I can switch to a higher quality view here. So I'm just looking at it as a hidden wireframe environment. But because I've got materials embedded within the walls, I can flick to the photorealistic look in the model, and this is going to load in the information I need to see what it's going to look like. So here, this is the view from the street, and I can instantly see graphically what these building elements, these materials look like. And again, I can go to my facade options. At the moment, this one is set to brick, but maybe customers don't like brick, they like to render over it. We can flick to that as well. So again, it's a simple thing to set up. You can look at it in a realistic manner or a hidden line manner, just depending on what you want to display within the model, and it also is dependent on your graphics card. But you can instantly see visually how these design options are going to look. You could do this on the fly with your customers if they want to quickly explore different design iterations or options or variations with you. So that's the overview for interior and exterior design options in Revit. With parametric modeling, you can also tag and use keynotes inside of the model. You can schedule out anything. So I've got a little video here just showing you how you can use some of these tools. A tag is basically adding a text or a marker on your model to say that it's a window type 1 or window type 2. On the screen here on the right, you can see we've got the areas. So once you actually design your building, design your footprint, you can go and drop an area on it and then use a tag, and that will extract information out of the area. So here we have the study. I've tagged it, and it says it's got 16 square meters, 4x4. We can also color code things with legends. So these legends will instantly display on the drawing. So for certain rooms that of a certain color, you can match them. You can see here 16 meters is blue, and we can instantly go to that legend and see that that's 16 square meters. So this could be important for bedroom sizes or kitchen size. Someone who wants to get in X amount of square meters in their design, you can do that with tags and schedules and legends. So now let's look at some of the powerful tools that we have in Revit with dimensioning. So we're going to look at some of the automated tools, the call out of details. This is where you can scale in from a certain view to a more detailed view, and then annotation that will update for all views. So what we have here is a call out. Basically, we can go to any part of the model and draw a shape around it and then do a call out to another view or to another more detailed view, which we can start to adjust and scale. So I just changed the scale from 150 to 120, and there's going to be more detail showing up here. So as we go in to look at maybe the more detailed information of that wall at 1 to 20, it's been revealed because we've done this call out and we've changed the view and we've changed the way it's going to display. Another great thing we have here is the automation of dimensioning. So I can go and pick individual faces of the walls, or I could start to do the center lines or even entire walls. So here I can go and look at the options of what I want to be picking. So grids intersecting walls, all I'm doing is just grabbing that entire wall, and now it's going to dimension every single intersection. So if you set this up for openings, windows, and doors, this would automatically grab all that information for you. The other one, just to touch on keynotes again, is material keynotes. So this one goes in and allows us to pick maybe a material that we want for that interior finish. So you can see we've got a number of settings here. This is from the NatSpec Keynote text file. We can have it as tiles, have it as paint. And again, with this keynote, you can put all those keynote numbers on the cover sheet and have them refer to a tile type or a floor type. Likewise, with a call out and plan, we could do a call out and section. So here we have our section, and this one is at a scale of 1 to 100. I've set it up because I want it to display in red when it cuts. It's a very basic display. I just created a section, I go to the view. Again, I go from 1 to 50 to 1 to 20. I change the detail from coarse to fine, and you can see here we have more information showing up in the walls. Now there's a few more things I need to do here to get it to display exactly the way I want, because it was set up in a certain way with a section. But again, I'm doing the same thing with the material keynote tag. So you can see here, it's already showing up again as 0641, just like in the ground floor. So once this is set up in one view and you go to keynote that in another view, it will update accordingly. With Revit, you can also import in your existing CAD data. So you could reuse it for topography or maybe a certain detail that you've used in your library for years. You can bring that in, import it, and have it in the Revit file. You can also import and link it. I would always recommend linking it. Don't embed it in the drawings. Sometimes if you embed it, it stays there forever. Whereas linking, you could link it to one of your databases and that will always show up and it will always pull from that correct database. So what I have here is an example of linking in a CAD file from a survey. So here is some information that's embedded. It's been linked in and it has all the layers showing up. I can go and query any layer here and it will tell me the layer it's assigned to, and it has a bit more information. You can see here in 3D as well, it's coming with information like topography information that's set up to the correct RL, the proper topography level. So if your surveyor is starting to work in 3D, you can bring that in and it will automatically come in with the right datum heights and also the spot heights that you're seeing here in the display. So it's another great way to reuse the CAD data to inform your Revit model, working with that topo information. You can bring that in and have that display in a number of different ways. And we're seeing here it is displaying in our section as well as it cuts through the model. Now you could just bring in the 2D information as well, and take that 2D information and convert it into a topographical layout, topography. So that's an option as well. But because with this particular survey, it's been linked in, I've got that information available to use inside of Revit. So that's a quick overview of bringing in those files. And again, I'd always recommend bringing it in as a linked file. Don't embed it. We can view it as hidden line or shaded, and it comes in as a proper surface inside of our building information modeling environment. If you want to know more about different tools that support the full version of Revit, I'd recommend you check out the App Store here. This is an application where you can get all these different add-ins to automate the work inside of Revit. So if you need to do costing, the one just showing there was the Sigma Estimates 5D. It's an add-in to Revit to do costing. And here on the website, we have apps, numerous apps for numerous different products. So whether it be AutoCAD, Revit, BIM 360, Inventor, there's a lot out here. And when you go and select on these, we have Revit with annotation tools, design tools, electrical, interoperability. One thing you might be interested in is maybe scheduling and productivity. You can click on that and it will list out all the apps. These are made by third-party developers and they're rated by users. So you can see we have 21 pages of different apps to choose from here, and you can filter through for maybe the best rating. And we can see here, this one, if we click on it, it's been given 5 stars. There's a trial. Some of them are free, some of them you pay for. But this is a productivity tool to use inside of Revit, and there'll be some screenshots and more information about it. And then we have feedback from different users who are using this. So please check out the Autodesk App Store to look at different options to improve how you could use Revit for your particular industry. Another great one that I really like is some of the tools from a company called Rivet Works. This one is based in New Zealand, and they do some really intelligent add-ins and content for Revit. So they've got a door factory tool, they've got tools for electrical outlets and switches, a really powerful casework joinery database. They've got new lighting tools, hydraulics, and even intelligent detail fixings like 2D detail fixings and flashings that you can bring in to enhance the detailing in your Revit environment without having to build all the 3D parametric information. So this video here is just looking at how to use the door factory. This is the full version of Revit. You go to the add-ins tab and you'll see all the add-ins that you've purchased and installed. We'll then go to create a door here in metric. And for this particular instance, I want to choose a sliding door, but you can see on the door types, there's a huge amount you can choose from. So, bifold doors up to six leaves there. And then you can adjust the jambs and the panel sizes, add different handles. And the interface here is developed in a very intuitive way, in the same way that we would sketch out a door in the real world or understand a door. If you're going to make this inside of Revit, it would probably be a little bit of a different experience making families. This one takes the more intuitive approach to create a door with all the information you need without having to be a Revit family expert. So finally here, we're just looking at the identity data. And again, this is like the parameters inside the family, so you can add more here. We just give it a name and we build that door. So I've just gone through this and done it very simply, but you can add a lot of information to these doors. And when we're done, we build the door. And this will now load it into our Revit database here. So here we have the basic one, just a pocket door, and I want to have a pocket door embedded in that wall between the bathroom and the bedroom. So I'm just going to place that in there. And this is now created an opening. What I can do here is I can start to make some adjustments. So by default, it's just come out at a certain width, like 810 standard panel width. But I want my doors to be pretty bespoke, so I want it to be 1335 millimeters, which is quite a generous size door, but I can flex that door very easily, and then I can move it to where it needs to be. And nice little junction here, so I'll snap it here, and we now have a pocket or a cavity slider door built with the Rivet Works door factory inside of the model. I haven't had to go into the family editor and create it, or go searching for a manufacturer on the website. This could be one that could be made bespoke by a local supplier, and that's it. So that is an example of one of the really powerful tools from Rivet Works. Other manufacturers, suppliers, we have websites like BIM Object. There is a national BIM library. This one is called Caroma. So anybody in the Australian, New Zealand region knows who Caroma is. They're a massive manufacturer of bathroom goods and some kitchenwares. They have a great website here where they have different styles of bathroom wear and kitchenware. So you can see Fowler and Dorf and Clark, all available as a BIM library, which you can load into Revit. Now, you can choose numerous different file types. So if you're using SketchUp or OBJ files, DAE files, etc., you can use those. The one we're going to focus on here is the RFA file format. That is the Revit family file format. So you can go straight to their website. You don't need to log in or anything, but you can log in if you want to, and you can start to create a proper specification of all the things you've downloaded. I'm just going to show you a simple example of choosing a WC. I'll go and have a look at that information. So you've got section information, a photo. I will download that RFA file, haven't had to do anything, and then I just drag and drop that into my Revit environment. This one was built as far back as 2015. I'm on Revit 2020.1 here, and this is now loaded the WC into my Revit environment. It is wall hosted, so I'm just going to place it on that wall. And what I want to do now is actually connect it up with the drainage pipes we have here. So what's really cool is Caroma have built this with intelligent supply pipes and outlet pipes for me to connect up inside of Revit. So to do this, and I'm just going to flick to a section view here. Inside of that section view, you can see there is a pipe, and because I've got certain types of families embedded in the model, this will connect up and add the fitting. So you can see I've done it in 2D in the elevation view, but it's also showing up in the 3D view. So by just going to these third-party sites and downloading these files, you can load them into your model and then connect them up to your supply and drainage services. Another great website to check out, this is called Design Content, and this is a company that works with local manufacturers in the Australian and New Zealand region. So you can see on the screen capture there, it's AWS. All these doors have been made and built with parameters in them, built to the local Australian, New Zealand Revit standards. You can subscribe to this one, you pay to subscribe to it, but you can get access to a huge database of local Revit content. You can see there's a lot of stuff there for borrow bricks, especially in Australia. If you're looking at the type of brick maybe you can get in WA versus South Australia versus New South Wales, it is all built for this region. Another site to check out if you're looking at the mechanical, hydraulics, electrical content is BIM MEPOS. So BIM, Mechanical, Electrical and Plumbing Australia. There's a huge amount of content there as well, made and certified by manufacturers on the website, which you can subscribe to and use inside of your Revit environment. So moving into a little bit more detail here, BIM is not just about parametric modeling and creating schedules and producing PDFs for a builder to work from. You can fabricate from the building information model. So there's a couple of things to be aware of. Number one, you can do steel connections. And inside of this house design, I need to have a few steel members and they need to be connected. So inside of Revit from Revit 2018, we started to introduce steel connections from our advanced steel portfolio. You can load these in and then connect up the beams accurately. So if you really want to build all the nuts and bolts, you can do it inside of Revit with these steel connections. What I want to highlight here is a timber framing tool from a company called MWF, which is owned by Structsoft. So MWF wood framing, it does steel framing as well, is from Structsoft. They're a partner of Autodesk. They're certified as Revit developers, and they provide add-ins for Revit to allow you to do design for fabrication. They've got tools that allow you to set up and then automate the creation of the floors, the walls, the roofs, and the trusses, and then produce accurate shop drawings with also a CNC output. So this is a really powerful add-in if you're working in an environment and you want to cost everything and then take it out for fabrication. This wood framing tool from MWF Structsoft will allow you to do that. The teams at Structsoft at MWF have actually provided us with this little video showing how you actually do it. So here's my house model, and what Jamie, the expert there, has done is he's created a setup for the timber partitions inside the model. He's worked out where all the openings are going to be and what type of timber lintel you're going to need. This is all set up and all automated. So what he can do once it's set up is he can grab a wall and then hit quick update, and it goes and frames everything up based on the settings that we created for this file. Other things we can do is we can rename all the panels, and you can see it's tagging them all automatically. So a lot of information can be generated with this add-in for Revit. And you can see if you look at the MWF Pro Suite tab, there's a numerous amount of tools you can do. And then finally, we're looking at reading information from the file. So it's going to be generating a lot of data here, whether it be for shop drawings or CNC. This one is starting to do the shop drawings, and here we have each individual panel. So if you're needing to either take the information or the data from the model to the factory, you could do that. Or if you're needing to send this out to a guy who's working in the shop, they can get these sheets. You can generate these sheets instantly off the model, and they can go and frame this up off that sheet there. So a really powerful application for wood framing. Okay, so that was a video that's on the Structsoft website. With them being a partner, they present and host a stand at the Autodesk University conference, and that was just an example of a live demo they had in the conference hall with steel framing. So some incredible things are happening now with these tools, and as you saw there, they can knock it up pretty quickly. If you want to know more about what they do, they have a great YouTube channel. They do weekly posts on that YouTube channel. There's also a LinkedIn user group and a help center. So if you're wanting to get started or wanting to learn this, There's a lot of great content to support you, and there's numerous other features that we haven't even touched on. It's even got a clash detection tool. So one of the team members was helping out looking at how we were going to run some of the pipes through the walls, and we can work out where things might be clashing and when we need to double up some of the timber works. So a great tool to check out if you're wanting to move into the future and deliver proper building information modeling data. Visualization is a really powerful part of 3D modeling as well. It's been around for a very long time where we need to produce photorealistic renderings and we need to sell them to our clients. Pretty much on most house builder websites, there's always renderings of facades and different options, or renderings of interiors, because you can't build every single house, but you need a photorealistic render to sell it. What we have with Revit and Revit on subscription is cloud rendering. And this will allow you to do fast cloud computing, to do renders on the cloud without having to have an expensive laptop or desktop. It also has other tools that allows you to do lighting analysis and 3D panorama views. So if you haven't checked out the panorama views, you can go and put a render with a QR code link on your website. People can go and scan it with their phone and basically get some Google Cardboard and stand inside your design. Really powerful things can be done with our cloud rendering to do that. Also on the screen here, we can start to do artificial and daylighting analysis. So here I have all my IES data embedded within my light fittings. I can run lighting analysis for that on the cloud. Down the bottom here, this is like a daylight analysis, looking at the sun path. Where's the sun going to hit at certain times of the day? Do we need more external shading devices to maybe block that direct light? So this is just a quick video just showing you how to use it. You go to the View tab, you hit Render in the Cloud, and then you choose the type of render you want to do, the size you may want to run it at, and you hit Render. It's very simple, it's easy to use, and here it is on the website. Here's a render result, and we can start to look at different variations of renders. So once it's on the cloud, you can go and render out numerous different views because the data is available. So here's the daylight view, or I could go and render a panorama, or I could even do a sun path rendering, like an animation. So this is going every 15 minutes, showing a winter sun path and showing the light. So just a quick snapshot of what you can do with Autodesk subscription and cloud rendering. If you want to go further with this, there are numerous add-ins to really enhance your rendering and animation. This one's called Inscape. It's a plugin for Revit. You can instantly do real-time walkthroughs. It's got the ability to set you up for virtual reality. If you want to plug in a headset, you can stand inside the design directly off the Revit model. You can also publish out these models to share with your customers. So it could be an exe file for them to download, or you could even host the file on your website. So if they want to walk around the house on a web browser, they could do this as well. It's got a great content library. They're adding more and more, like trees and people and cars. You can do render still shots. This one has actually gone beyond a still shot. This is actually just a little snapshot of an animation I put together. But this is the quality you can get in a very short amount of time. It's got a really powerful engine that just renders directly off your model, and you can pretty much do this within minutes. So to give you an idea of what you can do with this platform, here's one that I put together. So this was a little bit lower quality. I put this together for like a little Instagram post, but it allows you to render out this information really quickly, stitch it together. I just used an application on my phone to stitch it together called Splice. This was probably about 4 hours work to create this animation off the Revit model. So 4 hours isn't too bad. The textures and the Inscape content that I've added here gives it a little bit more sense of realism, and I can set this up very quickly render it out as an animation very quickly, and then just using a simple tool on my phone, stitch it together and put it on my Instagram site. So if you're wanting to do this, I'd recommend Inscape. It's an incredibly powerful tool to use. It's developing incredibly fast. You don't have to go outside of Revit, and you can produce near photorealistic rendering and animation. There are other users out there who have done some great stuff. So if you are in sales and marketing and wanting to showcase your house, I'd strongly recommend you check out what Inscape does. Now, finally, want to look at the cloud. We have our BIM 360 environment, BIM 360 docs, that allows you to do some document management. Your files can be located in one place, not on a network server. You've got tools to manage approval workflows and transmittals, access it from anywhere on any device, whether it be your phone or your iPad, and you can publish information for non-Revit users. So what I've got here is my Revit interface, and I'm just publishing data from Revit to our BIM 360 environment. So this is taking the snapshot of Revit from what's called a Revit RVT file into a large model viewer file. And then for anybody who has access to document management, you can open up that information and view all the sheets on the cloud. So here are my sheets in my Revit model. The 3D model is available as well. But if you're wanting to go in and measure stuff, let's say a client wants to know how wide that dining area is, they can go into the cloud here and mark it up. Maybe they may have a concern about the size of that dining area for an antique table they've got. So does the 4.5 meters allow you to get in the table with chairs? They can mark that up and provide feedback in that one location. Now, another fantastic tool here is the issue tool. This one really allows you to go one step further with tracking things. So maybe the client or the builder or the tiler has some questions about the threshold detail between the wardrobe and the ensuite. They can go and navigate through this model on the cloud. They don't have to use Revit, and they can go and create an issue to send to somebody else on the team. So I send this one to Alan, and this could all be tracked. So here in issues, we can see everything that's being questioned on the model, and there's this whole history of what's being requested, closed out, could be in dispute, all within the BIM 360 document management portfolio. Now, to go further with this, let's say you're working with multiple teams. So this could be the architect or the house designer working with a interior designer or a structural engineer, and they could be in a completely different location in a different office. How do you manage that on the cloud? Do you just upload it to an FTP site and keep on sharing back and forth, or Dropbox, or is there a better way to do it? What we have here is Revit Cloud work sharing with BIM 360 Design that allows people to work in multiple teams. They can work with the user work sets, the user work sets that could be created. They're kind of like layers inside of Revit, and you can have controlled cloud work sharing. So what this looks like is inside of Revit, you can create sets that you want to share with other people. And again, these are just controlling the sheets, and we can save these out, and we can sync to our cloud. So this one's set up with BIM 360 Design, and it's called Revit Cloud Work Sharing here, where we sync to a central model in the cloud, and anybody else, the interior design who could be based in New Zealand, the structural engineer who could be based in the Philippines, when you sync it, they're going to be able to have access to this live data. They can go and open up the model from their end and work on it while you sleep or while you're working on another project. So I've just done my sync, and what I'm doing is I'm publishing the information, and I want them to review it before they consume any information at their end. So this is a design collaboration interface, and these are some of the sets that I've created. And what I can do here is I can create a set or a document that I want to share with maybe the interior designer or the structural engineer. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to create a package, and I'm going to hit the plus button and choose a set that might be of interest to them. So this one I've got is just the elevations. So this could be someone who's working on the finishes or the windows. I can create that package just like writing an email and attaching a PDF. I can create it, add some notes, and then send this to them, and they can go into the cloud and see the latest package for review, and they can choose whether to consume it inside of the Revit environment. So this is really powerful. Instead of sending an email or uploading to Dropbox, etc., you can do it all within the BIM 360 design collaboration interface here. And now as I switch to being, say, the structural engineer, for example, there's a package created. It's an open circle. I can go and click on that. And this will now load the information that the architects share with me. And I can see those elevations that have come up from Revit for review. So a number of ways you can share the data on the cloud, whether it be your clients or other consultants. You can start to use some of these tools to really accelerate your collaboration workflows. So thank you so much for joining this demand gen publication for house builders. If you do have any questions, please reach out to our marketing department and they'll be able to help provide you with more information. And I hope some of this was valuable. Thanks.